Are the San Antonio Spurs going to make one more run for the title? They have the best record in the NBA, and Tim Duncan, with his 4 championship rings, is still Tim Duncan. But Tony Parker sprained his ankle Friday night, so it won't be any slam dunk. Kevin Durant is nearly as good as it gets, while the Clippers are the ones putting on a show in L.A. Who has the best shot to bring down the Heat?
The Sports Reporters with John Saunders.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Sports Reporters. The Miami Heat in the East and the San Antonio Spurs, Oklahoma City Thunder, and Los Angeles Clippers in the West have the 4 best records in the NBA. Only now Tony Parker is expected to be out a month with a sprained ankle. So Jamel, who would have the best shot to dethrone the Heat?
Even with Tony Parker's injury notwithstanding, I'd still say San Antonio. They have the youth, the size, the athleticism, and clearly they play the best precision basketball in the NBA.
I want it to be the Lakers. but right now, I think that because Parker comes back with time to get ready for the playoffs, I'm buying into the Spurs. I don't think you can fake your way to the record they have this season.
In this order, I think it's the Spurs, Grizzlies, and Pacers. But the Spurs on top because size has not necessarily proven to beat the Heat, but execution can beat the Heat, and nobody executes better than the Spurs.
What's ironic about San Antonio is the fact that everybody thinks of their big 3 in the core of the teams that won the championship, so you think of them perhaps being an old team. But as you mentioned, they've really mixed youth in very well.
Oh, yeah, they have a lot of nice young pieces. Kawhi Leonard, he's been great. They have Danny Green. I think that this team, they're always overlooked, I should say. Every year, I feel like we're having the same discussion about the Spurs. Why aren't more people paying attention to the Spurs? It'll just be interesting to see how they absorb Tony Parker's injury because he's been their best player all season. If not for LeBron James, he would be maybe the leader in the MVP race.
You know, I agree with Israel. I think the mystery guest to the whole thing, the Memphis Grizzlies, who can play a more physical game than anybody else in the league. And I actually think with the Spurs, people are remembering that series 2 years ago when the Grizzlies roughed them up, and they're forgetting the role that the Spurs were on in the playoffs last year, all the way up to being 2 games to zip up on the Oklahoma City Thunder. If somebody had told you coming into the season that Tim Duncan at his age would play at this level, then nothing that's happening would have surprised you about it. Plus, they have the best coach in the sport, and I think that will count for something when they do get back to the playoffs.
Even with their winning streak last year, I didn't think they would be able to overcome a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder because they had a great combination of athleticism.
But did you think that way when it was 2-0 in
well, I
Western
thought that
Conference
before
final?
the playoffs started. Well, by the time it was 2-0, I was starting to question myself. And this year, it doesn't feel the same way. This year, I feel like they can get over the hump. This is all, of course, assuming Tony Parker can come back and be himself. But it just feels like maybe it's a James Harden effect, or I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's the experience factor, having gone through what they went through last year. But to me, they feel like the favorite, not just because they have the best record, to come out of the West. And that would be a phenomenal finals because you've got the 2 best teams just at playing basketball in the Heat and the Spurs. And if you remember last year, a lot of people thought that if the Thunder would have lost to the Spurs, that the Heat would have then lost to the Spurs because of the role they were on and how well they were playing and how they sort of create problems for Miami. So I think it's the Spurs, but Tony Parker has to be right, and I think they also have to maintain that #1 seed while he's gone.